Hello everyone, Jamie Trull here, your favorite CPA and financial literacy coach. And today we are going to be talking about ERTC and specifically ERTC scams. So this is the Employee Retention Tax Credit. And let me tell you, this space has gone a little nuts lately. So I want to give you some watch outs, some things to look out for when it comes to ERTC. And this has gotten a little bit personal for me. So I will show you why here in a minute, but I definitely have some thoughts about how some companies are definitely taking advantage of small business owners out there and how you need to protect yourself. So before we jump on into the fun part, the scams, right? Let's take it back a little bit. Let's come back and talk a little bit about what ERTC is. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details about the Employee Retention Tax Credit, but if this is the first time you're really hearing about it, or you want to know more about what this is, you can check out a ton of content that I have done around this. I have an entire playlist for the Employee Retention Tax Credit. Yes, you can still get this in 2022 and 2023, right? This is something that is still available. You can go back and refile your 941, your payroll tax forms to be able to claim this if you qualify. A couple of things to keep in mind for qualification. You will qualify potentially if you had employees outside of yourself during COVID, during 2020 or 2021, okay? And if you potentially suffered a large decline in gross receipts, or potentially if you were shut down due to COVID during a period of time and were still paying employees, right? And you can still get this even if you had a PPP loan. And there are some strategies to use in order to maximize this credit, and those are legitimate strategies, okay? This is real. The credit itself is not a scam. However, what I have seen happen now, even though I've been talking about ERTC for a long time, the conversation has heated up. And the reason for that is because all of the sudden, people are now starting to receive those ERTC credits back. So a lot of you may have filed early last year, early 2021, and just within the last few months have received your check back. Sometimes 5 figures, 6 figures, even more than that. I've heard of some very large amounts coming back in these payroll tax credits. So of course, that's going to attract a lot of attention, okay? It's going to attract quite a bit of attention. So that's what's happening now, where all of a sudden people are interested, companies are trying to jump in here and to be able to, kind of get their cut from this. Now, many of you already have my ERTC calculator. If you don't, I need you to go get it, and I need you to make sure that you get it from my website, okay? jamietrull.com/ERTC. That is where you're going to want to go and grab the calculator. It's only $27. I did that to make it super affordable for business owners to be able to do this themselves and figure out how much they could qualify for ERTC. Okay. And that is something that I feel really passionate about because I wanted to empower people to do this themselves. Even though the rules are confusing, I put it all into a spreadsheet, and I have been updating that each and every time the rules change. And so everybody who buys it gets all of those updates as well. However, I think we're pretty much done with updates. Let's cross our fingers on that. So the version you get today should be the final version. So let's jump on over to Google and I will show you why this is a little personal. So if you come in and search ERTC Jamie Trull, for instance, right? ERTC and my name, you're going to see quite a few things that come up. And I thought this was really interesting because absolutely none of these things that are using my name in their ads, all right, are actually me. So if this is something that you did where you were trying to find my ERTC calculator because you heard about it, you would potentially be sent to a lot of different threads. So the very first one that's not an ad does tend to be me. Just look for my name actually in the website. However, a whole bunch of these are not me. So I got kind of interested in this because people were asking me, talking about different companies that were coming to them and saying, hey, there are some new ERTC rules. I can get you all this money, right? Just use my company to file this for you. Okay, so maybe those companies are really trying to help. So a lot of people ask me, hey, are there changes that are happening? Because they're saying that there were new changes and now I can qualify for a whole lot more. And that always sends my antennas up. So I, looked and made sure, nope, no changes that I wasn't aware of. Everything has been the same since ultimately the end of 2021. We haven't had changes really substantially anyway since then in the rules to qualify. So I was a little bit confused as to what these companies were trying to say. And when you dig a little bit deeper into them, a lot of people told me that their companies are charging a percentage of the credit to file it for them. I'm going to tell y'all, this to me feels like preying upon small business owners. So a lot of times these percentages are huge. They could be 10%, 20, even upwards to 25% I've seen, all of which are totally insane. Because remember, there are some cases I have had people who have gotten over $800,000, $900,000, $1 million that have big businesses and a lot of employees from this credit, right? I've also seen businesses get $100,000, $50,000. It has ranged the gamut based on the size of the business and how many employees they have and how they have been affected. However, you can see that when you add a percentage to that, it's pretty significant. Now, here's the other thing to remember with this, because some of these companies might be legitimate and just price gouging a little bit. Okay, is that a scam? Maybe, maybe not. But here's something you need to be aware of, is that a lot of these companies are going to charge you upfront for this. And so then you may have to pay them and then wait for this credit to come through, which could be a significant amount of time, upwards of 6 months in a lot of instances, right? So if that credit comes through, great. But remember then, you also need to go back and amend your tax return for this, which means a portion of it ultimately, while it's not taxable directly, it ends up costing you additional tax because you will have to reduce the amount of payroll tax expense that you took on your tax return, okay? Which ultimately usually is going to require an additional payment of tax. So you may be thinking, well, I wasn't going to get any of this anyway, so even if they take 20%, I still make a lot of money. But remember, there is a tax impact to this as well, okay? And also, you could potentially be audited on this. All right. So a lot of these companies that have sprung up just to handle ERTC, right? They're not necessarily where are they going to be in 3 years when you potentially get audited. They are not going through these claims with a fine-tooth comb, and they could and probably will, to be honest, come back and audit a decent number of these claims and need to see more detailed documentation. Well, what happens when you can't reach that company, right? And maybe the IRS takes back a certain portion, or heaven forbid, all of your ERTC if they don't think you actually qualified for it or you can't prove it, right? And then all of a sudden, where are you? You've paid all this money out and there's pretty much no way for you to get it back at that point in time, because I will tell you these companies will probably disappear. Now that, again, that's not to say that all of these types of companies are scams, but I just want you to go in eyes wide open when you're working with somebody, especially if you're paying them lots and lots of money to do this for you. So of course, again, let's go back to these search results, because I was curious as to exactly what this was. What were they selling in each of these? So of course I went through and had to click on each and every one of these forms. So this is the first one that showed up with my name under the search results. So of course, look through it. If you don't see my name anywhere else, it's probably not me. But this one was really interesting, where you had to put in information. There is no information anywhere on here about what the price is, how much it costs, right? It tells you what the simple steps are, tells you they have a 90% approval rating, all these things, but there's nothing about, even when you come down to the FAQs, there's nothing about how much it costs. So I will tell you that when they don't give you a lot of information on here, right? Let's say what happens. So we have to put in all our information and then see where it goes, right? They're probably going to make us book a call or something like that, but there's nothing straightforward here at all. So now if we come back to the search results under my name, if you click on this ERTC validation, this basically takes you to essentially the exact same form, just under a completely different name as the one we saw before. This probably looks familiar because it's exactly the same as the other one, but with a different URL. I love this ERTC experts, Jamie Trull, still not me. But let's see what happens when we click on it. The ERTC experts. Okay, let's see. Begin your claim in less than 15 minutes. Oh, look, we have to put in a whole bunch of our personal information, including our phone number, etc., in order to submit it. FAQs. Let's see if this says anything at all about how much it costs. I don't see anything about that. Nope. Absolutely nothing on here about how much it costs to work with them. So obviously this is something that I feel a little strongly about because almost all of these have some methodology of taking your information. There's a survey they want you to take. They say maybe it's a calculator, but it actually isn't. It's just a survey. At the end of the day, then you have to put in all your information. You have to book a call with them, right? It's this whole process that you have to do to even figure out if this might be something that you qualify for. And of course, they're going to give you some huge quoted numbers to make it super enticing to come work with them and promise you all this money in the world without knowing anything about your situation. Okay? So this is where I just want to make sure that everybody goes in eyes wide open. Do not pay percentages if you are using someone to do your ERTC, okay? Here's what I want you to do instead. I want to make sure you have my ERTC calculator, okay? jamietrull.com/ERTC. The checkout page should look something like this when you get to the purchase part of it, where you can see what people are saying about it. We've had lots of people who are getting great amounts back from this. It's super easy to use. Again, it's one of our most popular things that we have ever sold in this company. Again, $27, no strings attached at all. You don't have to book a call. You don't have to pay some huge consulting fee. Nope, this is yours to be able to use and calculate your credit with, or potentially to go work with an accountant, but be empowered in the knowledge of what ERTC you are potentially going to qualify for, okay? Now, if you do want to work with someone, do I work with people? No, I do not. So anybody that's using my name as a service-based, consultation-based company, that is not me. But I will say I have gotten a good amount of requests from a lot of these ERTC advisor type companies that have popped up to partner with them and send people to them, okay? So a lot of them are trying to work out affiliate deals and partnerships where I get a portion of that percentage that they are charging. Again, typically these very large percentages they are charging, and I have said no to each and every one of them because I do not believe in price gouging. I do not believe in taking advantage of small business owners in this area, and I believe in empowering you with this financial information so that you don't have to spend tons and tons of money for someone to be able to help you. So if you're wondering what you do, if you do want to work with somebody, because that's something that I do not provide, I don't review calculations and I do not help you file your 941s. That's just not a service. We're not a service-based business. I'm an education-based business. I do have a recommendation for that, and it is someone that is not going to charge you large percentages of your credit to help you with this. And that was something super important to me. So Kristi Stone from Stone & Company CPAs is my go-to for this. She's been on this YouTube channel before. I've known her for almost 20 years at this point, which is crazy. And I trust her so much with this. And she's the only person that I can, in good conscience, recommend right now for this specific work. Now, that's not to say there aren't tons of other people that are qualified in this. If you have an accountant, ask them if this is something that they are aware of. Many accountants are now. However, if you don't have somebody that knows this, Kristi is an option and can help you out. And so if you buy my calculator, you're also going to get all the information to contact Kristi and set up a meeting if that's something that you decide you want to do. So to sum this up, I just want to reiterate, buyer beware. Right? Just make sure to check things out, triple check. Don't assume anybody is me if it is not under my name, okay? And make sure that you're going in eyes wide open. If you're here watching this, that means that you are a person that is all about empowering yourself with information. And so continue to do that. There will always be people that will take advantage of others. And that is largely why I do this business today, because I got so tired of this happening in the financial space. I want to empower people to be able to take control themselves and therefore not feel like they have to put their trust into people who maybe are not trustworthy on things like this. Okay. So thank you for being here. Y'all are amazing. Make sure to report people if you see this kind of thing going going on right, but just make sure to ask good questions. And if something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. So don't forget to check in with yourself. So thank y'all so much for joining me. This is really our big time with content from now through the end of the year and into early next year. We will have tons and tons of financial content helping you close out the year, plan for next year, all the things that you need to know. So make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.